Alright, welcome back to the SuperCoach NFL channel. In this video, we're going to review week 10 of the 2025 NFL SuperCoach season. So this week was okay. 529 I thought was a decent enough score, but did see me drop 53 spots overall, so down to 184th, which is still great, don't get me wrong. But yeah, obviously it needed to get a bit closer to probably 600 to maintain the rank. So if we have a look at the team and how they went, um, so Josh Allen was our captain, and didn't do too much in that game against Miami, but still managed to pull out a 40. So um, it's always a safe captaincy option. JJ McCarthy with a 32 is making a good bit of cash. So yeah, we can hold him for a bit longer. Obviously, if you were up early enough in the morning, you could have taken the VC on Jonathan Taylor, or if you straight captained him, fair play to you. 95 points. I think he scored about 50 in a PPR fantasy type league. So absolutely insane. He's probably the most expensive player in the game with, Allen down a bit, Lamar down a bit. Yeah, so wouldn't have called that at the start of the season, but absolutely killing it. Christian McCaffrey was a little bit underwhelming with 27. Josh Jacobs with 33, getting a touchdown today. Pretty rare one. And luckily for me, Devonta Smith got the other, which was great for my redraft league. Bijan Robinson with an 18, so not great, but whatever. And then Monongai and Tracy, solid scores. Tracy actually losing a bit of cash. I thought he might make a bit off 15, but seemingly not. At wide receiver, so we had JSN with 35, rock solid. Um, Almost number one wide receiver in terms of value. Jamar Chase is a little bit more expensive, but killing it. Drake London with a 42 is awesome. Puka Nakua 29 was solid. Solid from Amon-Ra with 28. Jefferson with just 11 was the letdown there. And Adunze getting a touchdown, 35. So, especially when we needed to play him this week with Chase and Lamb on the bye, that was a good get. Tight end, Tyler Warren with 27 was good. Dalton Kincaid with 9 wasn't ideal. Fannin with 12 was a little bit better. The kickers we guessed wrong. Tyler Loop with the 28, a lot of field goals for him. Borregales with just the 8. The Pats defense only scoring a 4, but that was better than a -6 to be fair. So, and then Jackson Dart just continues to be an absolute keeper. 52 this week. We'll probably see Lamar at some stage, but this might be the week we make that move. But we'll look at break evens and all that stuff as we go through. Head to head this week, so 1-1, got a win in the first league over last minute. Aiden's team with a 495, so he had Brock Bowers with a 7 as his VC. That's a bit stiff. Captain Lamar, so only a 33 for Lamar. So Jackson Dart outscoring Lamar yet again. Nico Collins with 38 wasn't the worst though. Also had Drake London. Had Jonathan Taylor as well for the 95. Just didn't have him as VC. But the top scorer in this league looks like Wacko Jacko with a 597. And shout out to Dan's team, Cook, Lamb, and Rice with a 589, getting done in the league. That is stiff. But for Jackson, he had a Buko for a 41. Played McCarthy in the flex. Not bad. Trey McBride with 46. So nice, rock solid tight end one there. Copped Gadsden's 5 as well. So who dropped out of his score? Oh, the Pats defense, fair enough. But VC Jonathan Taylor and was good enough to take it. So That is fantastic. And Dan also VCN Taylor. So either the boys have got not much to do waking up early, or was looking at maybe someone like McCaffrey as captain, or even Saquon, and had the time to flip. In which case, hats off to the both of you for banking that. And then in the second league, Jordan's team, Yeezy for president, too good with a 571. Um, so he had Josh Allen. He had Jameer Gibbs as captain. There you go. He scored 73. So that went under the radar for me. But great result there. If you had Taylor and Gibbs, absolutely flying this week. But yeah, solid scores all throughout. Like the lowest looks like a 17 from Tet. I've got a 9 and an 8 sitting in there, which is pretty gross. I guess the 11 from Jefferson as well. But top scorer in this league, so Wacko Jacko features yet again. But relentless shout out to Dan. I was actually chatting to Dan today, old work colleague. I did think it was you, but yeah, good to hear from your legend, and great score this week too for someone who's not the biggest NFL fan by his own uh, suggestion. Had Brock Bowers, which is a bit unlucky, but yeah, VC Taylor, well done. Um, Nico Collins, good pick. Nakua, it's pretty solid picks there. Like, yeah, another Jackson Dart believer, good stuff. Had a Booker still as well, so great picking there, legend. Uh, I should go to the overall league. See if we had any 600. Oh, that's my other league. Don't worry about that. Killing it in that one. Back to the matchups. Why is it? Oh, looking in the wrong spot. Hey, so it looks like I've jumped up to number one in the Open League. Go to the Pirates. So Katrina this week with just a 505. Mitch with a 498, slipping a couple of spots down, and I've managed to find my way to the top of the table, which is pretty unexpected. There we go. We've got a 605 for Joe's team. Bunyip. 676 for the Power Yeezys. I reckon that is a Taylor and Gibbs combo for sure. 612 for Not Lob, Kate's team. Well done, Kate. But we've got to check out this 676. That's pretty good this week. Ben with the Power Yeezys. So Devon Acham with the 74. So there's another running back. Jameer Gibbs, Captain Taylor. So that is an elite running back room this week. Had Loop as the kicker too, which is handy. Jalen Waddle with 33 is a solid option. Had Jalen Hurts for just the 23 today. So just triple running back goodness getting him the score. So if we go to rankings, that's got to be up there for the highest score of the week. Oh, 737. But I'm sure we'll see him here sooner rather than later. 676. So 24th for the week. So well done, Ben. Absolutely flying legends. But let's have a look at the 737. That's insane. So just straight seed on Taylor. You love to see it. Had Achan, Gibbs, Mayfield is a bit of a pod. 45 this week. JSN, Adunze, Waddle. Yeah. The Seahawks defense for a 42. That's pretty handy. Jackson Dart as well. Nothing from the kickers. Great stuff. Well done, Greg. Winning this week. That is awesome. So overall across the league, we've looked at the top three. So Davis Mills out of nowhere with a 57 this week. Um, so I actually made some cash despite having 12 points going into this week for the season. Um, I think CJ Stroud might have just been a concussion from memory, so not worth looking at. Matt Stafford with a 54 was quite good. Travion Henderson with a 54. I did see he scored a touchdown. So well done if you had him, 38%. He's finally made that cash you've been hoping for all season. Might have a good break even and could be one to get on with. The Jets up next. Jackson Dart continues to be awesome with the 52. Interesting to see with the coach getting the axe, how that impacts him. But I think we just keep riding the wave while we can. A couple more quarterbacks: Williams, Jared Goff, Mac Jones had a good week. Trey McBride we've seen already. Kyron Williams for a 42. So I think he was running back four, and actually would have been Henderson. So if you owned him and you were brave enough to play him, and then these big three, you were cheering. Seahawks defense was number one, as we saw. Jalen Naylor with a 41 out of seemingly nowhere. Good stuff. Dylan Gabriel with a 39, so not many people on him as a cheapie, but made a little bit of cash this week. Tyler Shot, so maybe a few people got on him. No, not too many, 0.8%. But 38 this week, made 2.3 mil, would have a good break even, but he is going into his buy. So not worth looking at this week. Could be a great downgrade next week for, if you want to use JJ McCarthy's money, for example, that sort of thing. Brees Hall with a 37, nice little mid-price option. George Kittle with a 37, so probably his best game of the season. Yeah, don't know anything else interesting. Tyler Algier outpointing Bijan's interesting. I suppose Lamar. Yeah, we're sort of getting into just whatever. Excuse me. So break evens as well, just quickly for those that are interested. So Davis Mills number one, but as I said, I don't think that's a long-term solution. Travion Henderson. So I guess not too late to get on if you've got a mid-price, like maybe you've still got a Scatterbo sitting on your bench. Um, I've got who have I got again? Someone tell me. um, Tracy and Monongai. So could sideways potentially, but I think I've burnt too many trades to get fancy with that. Um, yeah, McCarthy's still negative 21. Love to see it. Colson Loveland was 15 this week, but made 2.2 mil. Still got negative 23 break even. So not too late to get on there if you're chasing a quick bit of cash. Um, yeah, after that, nothing too awe-inspiring. So I guess maybe like the Titans off the bye this week. Cheap defense, negative 10 break even. Um, again, that'd be more if you're just looking to downgrade from someone. Maybe you've got the Colts defense. I don't know. But yeah, I think Henderson, cheapie of the week. Um, after that, not overly interested. Brees Hall's an interesting one at the price, and he's sort of back to his starting value, but definitely on the up. And with the trade deadline coming and going, looks like he is staying in New York. So work with that, and yeah, maybe. But yeah, in terms of my team this week, so I only got two teams on the bye: the Colts and the Saints. Um, so I can't imagine the Saints being too much of an issue for a lot of people, but there may be a few people with a Taylor, Daniel Jones, and Tyler Warren. Um, so because they're different positions, should be okay to cover. Um, but I didn't look at what Danny Dimes is. So 21 mil. So, he's made 4.5 mil. Could be the right time if you wanted to go up to a Lamar or a Josh Allen if you don't have them. Um, Jackson Dart is slightly more expensive. I don't know if I'd jump across. So actually, just saw he's the most traded out already with a 10. So obviously, people don't believe in the new coach. But Lamar's got a break even of 54 up against Cleveland, which is a pretty good defense. Rubbish attack, but defense is okay. I guess the Giants up against Green Bay's defense pretty good. Just their attack seems to be struggling. So I do understand that, but I might just wait one more week. I think is the plan to get Lamar in. Um, so yeah, so Taylor's out this week. Might have to go on matchups. I mean, it's sort of awkward either way. Like they're not really the out and out number one. But the Giants up against Green Bay, not a fan of. Chicago playing somewhere. Minnesota, again, not great, but I think we'll go with Monungai. Wide receiver, so we've got the full set this week. Um, so Dunze is the obvious one. And then the not so obvious one would be who? So let's go through. So Atlanta against Carolina. So I think London's a pretty safe option. Um, Cincinnati against Pittsburgh, who their defense doesn't seem to be the strongest, so Jamar Chase is fine. Um, the Rams up against Seattle, who have been quite good, but I think Nakua is just too good to leave out. Um, so JSN's also in that game. So Detroit against Philly at Philadelphia. Dallas against Vegas. So I think we do need to get CD Lamb in. So Minnesota against Chicago, Jefferson. So I'm leaning towards Amon-Ra getting the week off. CD Lamb. Just, Philly's defense was quite good this week. They've upgraded at cornerback and linebacker, I think it was, in the trade deadline. So, yeah, it's weird, but Amon-Ra sits out this week. Tyler Warren's on the bye, so that makes that choice easy. The kickers. So, is it, I guess, with Loop up against Cleveland, there might be a few more field goals on offer with as I said, Cleveland's defense is far from the worst. Although New England against the Jets, there could be quite a few extra points. We'll just go with the informed guy. So New England against Jets, happy to play that defense. The Saints the 49ers up against Arizona. Not the strongest offense, but the San Fran defense is just struggling. Jackson Dart is in. So that would be the team without trades, but I'm thinking we've got 11.5 mil in the bank. We don't need all 11 mil to make Dart into Lamar Jackson, particularly if we wait another week. So I guess what this sort of highlights is that we could do with a fifth running back. And we could also do with an upgrade at tight end. We've sort of got these few mid-price options. There's a couple of sort of premium guys that we could absolutely try and target. So I'm thinking the play is, I think we're going to trade Fannin because it's probably all much for muchness there. And with the matchup against San Fran, it is a bit of a pay up, but I think we might have to get on Trey McBride. If I just cancel that, go by average, so take out the injured guys, take out Brock Bowers' monster game he had the other week of about 70 points. Trey McBride is clearing away the number one. I mean, we could go George Kittle in that same game, a little bit cheaper. Dallas Goedert is probably also the other option I'd consider. But Detroit's defense isn't the worst. So, and there's also a lot of other attacking options there. Whereas like Trey McBride is the man there at Arizona. George Kittle probably close to the man there at San Fran with all their injuries at the moment. But I'm gonna go for Trey McBride. I haven't really thought this all through, if I'm being completely honest. Monongo's still got a negative break even, and Tracy's lost cash. So I think, can we get a playable running back this week for under 10 mil? That's the problem with McBride. So obviously HN and Gibbs would be the top two options. Um, after that we go to, there's sort of these guys in the mid-price area like a Cook, Williams, Kyron Williams, Javonte Williams. DeAndre Swift's a bit of a probably overpay at 17 mil. Saquon, even Rico Dowdle now, he's number one, isn't the worst option. And then, we get into the likes of Genty, Hall. So they're pretty well sort of tiered at the moment based on their average. So we can't sort of get to another elite option, which isn't, it's not the worst because pretty much after this week, although we do need someone to cover McCaffrey in week 14. So it is worthwhile investing in the running back position. But even if I, don't even do the McBride trade, I still can't afford one of these guys. So I do own him in my redraft league, which is why I'm sort of keen on it. But we could go with Rico Dowdle. Obviously, then we don't upgrade our tight end, and after this week, it's probably just going to be Kincaid and Warren. Obviously, McBride would be nice. I guess the other thing I am forgetting about is we do need a couple of mil in the bank to make Lamar Jackson happen at some stage. Hmm, what do we do? Let's go down. So he's probably made a lot of his money, but Judkins is an interesting one against Baltimore. Although Baltimore's probably come with. Do we back the king in? The Browns aren't the worst defense. I guess if we talk about terrible defenses, do we look at someone like a Jalen Warren up against the Bengals defense? It's not the worst idea in the world. Either that or it is the worst idea in the world. Woody Marks against Tennessee. He's in our price range. He's going all right, averaging 20. He's probably the number one there at Houston at the moment. Let's have a look. Yeah, so Tennessee's ranks against running backs 31st in the league. So do we do a Woody Marks? And then I think we could squeeze a Fannin to a Kittle. 3.5 mil. That definitely keeps some cash in the bank for Dart to Lamar. But I guess the problem is Kittle is then another week 14 buy. So, Colton Saints this week, sweet. The Broncos, Chargers, Dolphins, Commanders, that's not an issue for us in week 12. But it's going to be here where we've got the Panthers. So that sort of rules out a Rico Dowdle. The Pats, so we've got their defense. We've got one of their kickers. Um, so, yeah, if you're bringing in Travion Henderson, the Giants, so Jackson Dart, we're probably going to trade him before then. But then also the 49ers, we've also got their defense, so we definitely need to find defense for week 14. McCaffrey as well. So week 14 for our team hits pretty hard. So, yeah, I'm leaning away from Kittle for that because we don't have the trades. I guess we do have just enough money to do McBride. Do we go the aggressive route? Gives us six trades, so we'll probably have to use two next week to get Dart to Lamar. Um, yeah, we could find maybe we just fade Dunze because I don't think our wide receivers rather, are affected for the rest of the season. So I'll just confirm these trades because this is dragging on a bit. I do apologise, but live trading and thinking. So yeah, so there's no issues in round 14, no issues in round 12, and clearly no issues this week. So yes, we can cash out a Dunze, I reckon, next week, and that money will cover Dart to Lamar. That gives us four trades in the bank. Obviously, with no teams on bye in round 13, so we can just play our full team. We could do two trades if we need to in week 14. Definitely one for defense. Um, and again, maybe on matchups we're okay with the running backs, but we might not have much money to do much there anyway. Um, and then yeah, it's just the finals or head to head SuperCoach finals, I should say, getting into the playoff picture. So yeah, I think that's the play. So as I said, Marks is in. We're going the pod this week. We're also going McBride, which is the keeper there at tight end for sure. Um, so then just captain, vice captain. So Thursday night game, New England Jets. I mean, we're not VCing the defense. That's ridiculous. Um, so the international game, Miami, Washington. So I guess if you've got a Devon Achan, could be a nice VC option. Um, so Buffalo plays Tampa fairly early, so could we VC Allen? When does Houston play? So Houston plays at the same time. Obviously, it'd be nice if Marks would be the guy we sub out, but that's okay. I'm sure we can work something out. Might have to. Well, actually, when do all these running backs play? So Chicago plays early, so Monungai, well, he'd be playing anyway. Bijan plays early, so we can't sub him out. Josh Jacobs plays early, so it'd have to be like CMC out, which is not ideal because Kincaid plays early. I guess we could do Warren and then McBride would be the auto emergency. So the loophole is doable. So Allen as the vice captain, but then our backup captain, guess we have to choose from CMC, JSN, Puka Nakua. We don't have Lamar, but he'd be a safer option. Um, we don't have a Saquon or a Jalen Hurts in Philly. We're not playing a St. Brown. I guess if you had Jameer Gibbs, that'd be good. If you have Mahomes, although it is at mile high against Denver defense, but could be a good shout. Guess we could do CD Lamb against Vegas in the Monday night game. Hmm. Maybe we don't worry about the VC this week. We'll just go Allen into whoever. Um, let's have a look. So Arizona's 20th ranked against running backs. Bijan, Carolina's mid-range to Jacobs against the Giants. Let's have a look at wide receivers. So Pittsburgh hasn't been great against wide receivers. So let's put Chase in perhaps. Rams have been good defensively. Carolina surprisingly good. Surely the Seahawks. Oh, okay, not as high as I thought. The Vegas surprisingly good, so probably a fair fate. Chicago against wide receivers. Ooh. I think at the moment I'd back Chase over Jefferson. So we'll go with that. Actually, I should have a look at McBride against San Fran's defense. Could we captain McBride? That's a bold move. No, I'm not that brave. I'm gonna go. We're doing the pod thing with Woody Marks this week. Um, I think we'll just keep it safe. Josh Allen captain. I guess if we're going to do that, we could also just look at Dart as vice captain. But no, I think Chase is all right. So happy with that. So yeah, that's the team going into week 11 of the 2025 NFL season. As always, if you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to add them below this video. Give us a like if you enjoy the NFL content. Subscribe for all the SuperCoach content on the channel. And other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.